this morning in Australia, but this evening in Europe, talking to God Dethroned's Henry. Very excited about this. Huge fan of the band, and especially the new album that's going to drop in a couple of days. So, how are things, my friend?
Yeah, things are good. It's busy, doing a lot of interviews nowadays. Actually, I'm doing interviews for a couple of months already, and it's getting busier and busier. We're getting prepared for the European tour, which will start in a couple of weeks. So it's busy times.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I've heard the album, and it's sensational. It really builds on from the previous album, Illuminati, which was about 4 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, it's 4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, yeah, you must be very pleased about it. It's a I would call it a savage album. It's very, yeah.
Yeah, it's we're very satisfied about the album. I mean, we managed to do something original again. We are a band that never want to repeat ourselves. We don't work with a blueprint. We don't want to do the same album twice. Every album should be completely different from the one before. And that's what we did on this one as well. Everything is completely original, composition wise and lyric wise. It's completely original, and it's very diverse. We always want to make sure the albums are diverse. So we have a couple of fast, aggressive, brutal tracks. We have a couple of more mid-tempo, melodic songs, and we have a couple of atmospheric songs on the album, just to make sure that it's not boring. It's not the same all the time. You don't want to listen to slow songs all the time. You don't want to listen to blast beats all the time. It should be a good mix of everything, and I think that's what we achieved.
Yeah, I think it's a. What I love is the balance of it. Exactly what you've just explained. Like, yeah, the change in tempo, and I think the flow of the album is great as well. Like, it's really a lot of thought in it, in a kind of a world where people kind of focus on singles and stuff now. But it's I only got it a couple of days ago, but yeah, it really flows from the start to the end, which is definitely what I want, and is definitely something that you've done consistently over your whole career.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I just don't like to do the same stuff on the whole album. I just like to have as much a variety as possible. Also, because when you want to promote the album live, you can choose which song fits best to the situation you're in. When we have the feeling people are more into a mid-tempo song, we just take one from all the songs we have. Also, when we're promoting the new album, we can see what the mood in the venue is like. If people are more into something fast, then we just take one of the fast songs of the album. And if you only have fast songs, but your audience is more into, for some kind of reason, more something mid-tempo, then it's nice to have songs like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So no, we can adjust to every situation we're in, basically.
Yeah, I mean, you think you've got, and also you've got I suppose when you play live, you've got a catalogue of that too, particularly when you look at, the early albums that are, any band that progresses, but yeah, they were, pretty much, accelerated to the floor kind of one, particularly the debut. But that's where a lot of people, that's where it goes on. But I think, I mean, I think you're still, like I said earlier, still as savage and really raw, like, yeah, especially, like the closing point of the new album is just, is fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's
I appreciate that.
yeah, like I said, I love the flow of the album. So what are the main, I mean, you really talked about keeping it nice and fresh, but what do you think are the main differences between the last album and this album? What's the biggest difference?
Well, there's a couple of differences. some of which people will not really notice, perhaps. Well, first of all, we have a new songwriter in the band as well. You know, we have Dave, our lead guitar player. He was in the band before Illuminati was released, but the album was already recorded, so he did his guitar solos again. Well, he did. We had another guitar player in the band when we recorded it. It was Mike, and Mike was fired, and then Dave came in and said like, "Yeah, but I don't want to play Mike's guitar solos. I want to play my own." So we recorded his guitar solo. But on this album, it was his first chance to contribute to the songwriting. So Dave contributed quite a lot, and that guy is so good, it's unbelievable. So he did a lot of stuff, which is very original, things we haven't done before, and his style fits very well to the sound of the band. So the whole songwriting has gotten completely fresh attitude with his contribution. That's one difference. The other difference is that I did the mix of this album myself. It was the first time that I mixed the God Dethroned album myself. So in the past, I always had to try to explain my ideas or my vision about the sound to somebody else. And then that person was trying to get that as good as possible. But I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to do it myself. And I managed to do so. So I did the mix myself, totally happy with it because I could just do what I had in my mind, and
Yeah.
I didn't have to explain it to anybody. So the production is awesome in my opinion, and because I could do it myself this time.
Yeah, I think that yeah, I was going to ask you about that later on because I think I think the mix on it is really good. Like I think it's that's even from the last album you can see um it's it's dynamic but not overly modern, you know what I mean? And I also like the balance of the guitars and also the vocals. I think that's a bit of a difference to me. Like, but even between the two albums, it really, yeah, it's very punchy. Like, it's just,
Yeah, the thing is that many people don't realize how many layers we put into a God Dethroned song. There are songs on this album that have more than 60 tracks. So drums, bass, guitars, melodies, guitar solos, vocals, keyboards, everything together. Some of the songs is more than 60 tracks. And I wanted people to discover all the layers. So I mixed it in a way that initially you will hear the song, but the more often you listen to it, you will discover all the layers that are hidden, but they should be audible. You know, if I didn't open up the mix, then many of the ideas would be buried underneath something else. But what I did, I managed to create a sound where all the details are audible. Perhaps not the first time when you listen to it, but when you're a fan and you listen to the songs more and more, then you will discover a lot of things that are somewhere in the music that you will discover, which makes the album a lot more interesting. And that was quite a challenge, but I managed to do so, and I'm over the moon with the result. This is something that somebody else would not have achieved for me. I'm positive about that, and that's the advantage of being able to do it yourself, to get all the details out.
Yeah, I did. It's funny you mentioned that because the first time I listened to it was in my car, which is never, you know, a fantastic audio experience. And the second, third time round with really good headphones, and I could hear more of the layers, and you can hear the orchestral stuff, but also the keys or synths in it and different layers, and even I think the vocal tracking as well. I could it's subtle, but like you said, you need to hear it. But yeah, there's a lot of layering and a lot of work into composition. You know, it's incredible.
Yeah, Yeah, but it's great that you noticed, and I'm pretty sure everybody will notice. But it gives you a lot to discover, you know, and that makes it interesting. I think for us, it's very important.
Yeah, it's great, and the mastering was good too. I can't remember the name, but I know that he'd done Creator and a few other big bands as well. I think was that the mastering. It sounds very powerful. Have you used him before, or is that a new?
No, it was the first time. You know, his name is Tony Lindgren. He is the master guy of Fascination Street Studios, which is the studio to go to in Europe at the moment. It's Jens Bogren's studio. Jens has
Ah,
done Amon Amarth, he has done Creator, he has done Opeth, he has done all the great bands in Europe at the moment. It's an awesome studio. Tony has been doing masters there for the past 15 years, so he's like
wow.
super experienced. So I asked him if he would be interested in mastering our album. He says yes, I would like to. And then he told me when he received all the songs, he said, "Oh, I really like your mix. I can work with this." And then when he was finished, he said, "Oh man, I'm looking forward to work with you again in the future." So it was
Wow.
a really nice cooperation, and yeah, he's a true gentleman, and he did an awesome job. He made a good album even sound better. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great. Yeah.
That's the perfect collaboration, isn't it? I wanted to touch on where it's because you've obviously been going quite a long time. Still the challenge of both the band name and also the subject matter, because I know that particularly now because you've on the last album and that you've jumped back to kind of, I suppose, the whatever you want to call it, anti-Christianity or challenging religion or the occult, back from the war themes. How is that? Is it still? Do you still get a bit of grief about that sometimes? Like it's.
Yeah, well, definitely. we, it still hurts people if we say something about religion. Um, but all I'm trying to do is point out that religion has caused a lot of grief on this planet and killed so many innocent people. For what? For a belief? For a book of fiction? And of course, people are upset about it, but that's what they should be, and that's why we will continue to do so. And but like for example, the title track of the new album, the Judas Paradox, is about a story in the Bible, because everybody knows the story about Judas Iscariot. Everybody knows that one story where he is considered to be the betrayer. And I thought about what if he was innocent and just a scapegoat? So I started doing research and I found out that there is another story in the Bible, and this is not a lie, it's true. There's another story in the Bible about the Judas Iscariot situation. That in that story, it is being told that Jesus could look into the future. So he knew that he would be killed to be able to return as king of the world. And he also knew that Judas would be the person to fulfill this task. But this also means that Judas was not acting in free will, but he was the chosen one. So that makes him innocent.
Yeah, yeah,
And so the song, the lyric is written from the point of view of Judas, where he explains who he is, that he's one of the 12 disciples, that he saw Jesus as his brother, etc., etc. Then the song goes into the betrayal part, and then in the end, where the clean singing comes, which is done by Dave, our lead guitar player, he sings the part from Jesus towards Judas, where he explains, please don't blame me for what I did. I was killed, I died for a greater good, and you were the chosen one. So it's a different view on a very old story, but it is taken from the Bible, so it's all based on research and on historical facts. That makes it special. So nobody can blame me that I just marked a story from the Bible. No, actually a story from the Bible.
I Yeah, I think it's great. Like I was going to ask you about the concept because I think it's a really good concept. And I mean, as a side, I also love that you always do your research about songs and stuff that they're not. I mean, we all kind of when we're kind of young and we're getting into metal, we don't, we've all grown up on bands that have the imagery in that, but it's not wasn't really based on kind of factual research. It was more kind of like from Venom, Bathory, Possessed, and that because we love that stuff, But I love that the research that you do. I mean, particularly in the war albums that you did, it was very when you read the lyrics, you just can see the work in that. So that's one thing I think that's fantastic. So I think it's a great concept, but I love the video for it, and I also love the vocal interplay that you spoke of. It was like, yeah, with the clean vocals, it's very well thought out. It's the effort, I think, in many ways is very much appreciated.
Yeah, I have the feeling too. Some people told me that they prefer our faster songs and they think it's a little bit too slow and melodic or whatever. But there will always be somebody who will enjoy the faster, more aggressive songs. And when you do an album full of fast and aggressive songs, there will be people who say, "Oh, I like your more slower and melodic songs." So you will always have something like that. But what we want to do as a band is try to cover everything, like the fast, aggressive, melodic, mid-tempo, atmospheric, to make it worthwhile listening to. So we have 3 singles out by now. All 3 are in the categories that I just described. Red Kingdom was the first single. It was fast and aggressive. The Judas Paradox is the atmospheric song. And now we have, since last Friday, we have The Hanged Man, which is based on the tarot card, The Hanged Man.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the mid-tempo song with melodies and the great guitar solos. And so people now have the general idea what the album will be like, and I think it's very diverse, and I personally like that a lot.
I think as he said, I think those 3 the singles and the videos, if you want to either way, it gives a good cross section of it because I think it is a very solid over the 11 tracks. It's very, very solid. And I think it's going to give everybody what they want. And like you said, what you touched on earlier, also when you're playing live, have you incorporated any of these tracks from this album in your live set that you've played? Because I know that like a lot of bands, I'm in a band as well. Like, so you sneak the songs in eventually to get a feel of them. So are they live, those songs now? Like, have you played?
Not all of them. We play Asmodeus already for 2 years now, because we initially released that as a single in 2022. It's been re-recorded for the new album. So we played that one live. People really like it. We have played Red Kingdom a couple of times now, because it was the first single. It was out like end of June. So we played it on a few festival occasions. We haven't had the chance to play any of the other songs yet, because it doesn't make sense to play a song live when it's not out yet, because people will be like, "Okay, what is this?"
Yeah.
I think it's good that people can get used to it a little bit at least. So the album comes out Friday the 6th of September. The tour starts like 3 weeks later, which is great because people have the opportunity to listen to the songs. And we will play probably like 5 songs from the new album. So it's like basically half the new album.
Yeah.
Because we also want to play some older stuff,
Of course.
So it's going to be a mix of promoting the new album and also pleasing the fans with the songs that they also want to hear from Bloody Blasphemy and albums like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so. Is the tour coming up? Is because I've seen you've got a is that the tour in October? Is that when you're that one? Yeah, and you've got some. Is that where you're supporting some a very big band as well?
Yeah, we are. The tour is from September 26th until October 28th.
Yeah, yeah,
The tour is with Batushka and Ultimas.
yeah.
Batushka is really big in Europe. And it's going to be a very interesting tour because this tour is not about extremities, music-wise, but it's more about atmosphere and stuff like that. So we will fit in very well,
Mm.
and we can play our atmospheric songs, and it will be for the right audience. But if we want to mix it up with some more faster and more aggressive songs, we can also do so, because the diversity will also be very good on this tour. So we will make a nice, well-balanced mix between fast and atmospheric on this tour, and yeah, I think it will be great.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit. They're both, yeah, both really good bands. So I think that would be, yeah, that's going to be a great combination to showcase it, what you've got. I also wanted to touch on, because the band's always had a good approach about art and music and that intersection. You've always got good album covers, and you've always got great videos. You know what I mean? We've touched on the title track, but yeah, Rat Kingdom, the filming in the catacombs was unbelievable. I mean, you've previously had some, really good clips. Like, I was thinking of the Spirit of Beelzebub and stuff. Also, a very catching kind of video. But Rat Kingdom is probably one of my favorite videos. Like, it just, the mood and the setting is just, it's beautiful. Like, it's but very, very grim.
Yeah, we were lucky because in Holland, where I live, there is they rebuilt some of the Roman catacombs. It's a huge place with very long catacombs with the ancient paintings. All of course it's all made up, but it's built exactly in the style of the ancient Roman catacombs. And so we asked them permission to shoot a video there, thinking that they would never give us permission. And they said, "Yeah, no problem, you can come over." So we did a video there, and it's a unique place. I mean, there's no second place like that, and it's beautiful with all the wall paintings and stuff like that. So it was a perfect opportunity to shoot a video for Red Kingdom.
Yeah. Rat Kingdom's got it's got the guitar, kind of the tribute to Jeff Hanneman as well. I did read something about that, but you can kind of hear it. It's your work, but it's also, you can hear it in the playing. Yeah.
Yeah, when I started playing guitar when I was 15, and started playing in my first band at 17. And although I wanted to play in a metal band because of Iron Maiden, I already knew pretty quickly that I would never have the skills to play guitar solos like the Iron Maiden guys. But I also, of course, knew Slayer, and I loved Slayer as well. And I really liked the playing style of Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman, especially Jeff Hanneman, for some
Yeah.
kind of reason. So when I played in my first band at 17, I already played the same type of guitar solos that I still do today. And I
Yeah.
became very good at it. So my guitar solos are basically always inspired by Jeff Hanneman. But I never pointed that out. I always played solos like that. The God Dethroned fans know that, of course. They love my guitar solos. But I never mentioned it in a press release. And I thought this time, I'm going to mention it. I'm going to mention that my guitar solos are a tribute to the late Jeff Hanneman. Because I thought for once people should hear me say that
Yeah.
it's my tribute to a guy that I really respected.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. I mean, it really, yeah. I mean, the album's got everything, and that particular song has got a lot involved, and it's intense and that, but yeah, I think it's, yeah, fantastic. It's a lot of, and as I said earlier, I think it's really shows about the effort that is put into, from composition, artwork, and everything. Yeah, I think it's very pleasing, because a lot of people kind of submit, or they kind of, they go with the trends that are going on, whereas I think you're doing the opposite. It's about the passion in the craft, you know, like, which is kind of almost a dying art to a degree. So
Yeah, perhaps, but yeah, the Slayer guys have always done original stuff, and their solos are all over the place, and they're, you know, they always manage to get a certain feeling across in their specific way. And yeah, I hooked on to that, and I managed to master that kind of soloing myself, and I do the same ever since. And why not? I mean, it's great. It's awesome. You know, it's some people, they can play all the arpeggios and the sweeps and everything like super perfect, but if everybody is doing the same, nothing stands out. Guitar solos like they play and like I play, they will always stand out, whether you like them or not.
yeah, no, I think it's a point of difference, and I think it was always the interplay between the two guitarists was amazing. It really kind of adds something that, like it's not, yeah, and kind of also two types of aggressive guitar too. Really, it is, like it's obviously hard, technical to play and the differences between it, but it's very two different types of aggression almost, but it made it over their whole career.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Thank you so much for your time, and I do hope that one day you guys get to Australia, because I think you would definitely it it would go down a treat. You know what I mean? I think it's a perfect match. So we've got a lot of crazy fan base here that love extreme metal. And
Yeah,
congratulations on the album. I think it's phenomenal.
thank you very much. Yeah, and we hopefully, with a bit of luck, we can finally come over to Australia and New Zealand next year. It's definitely in the pipeline, but nothing's confirmed yet, and it's obviously very expensive to travel that far,
Yeah.
and all the flights in between the shows and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite a challenge, but we will
Yeah.
do everything we can to make it over there next year.
Yeah. Have a good launch with the album, which is, literally in less than 2 days now, and a great tour in October, September,
Yeah,
October. And thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And it was great chatting with you.
yeah, man, my pleasure, and thanks for the interview, and hopefully see you somewhere next year
Yeah,
on
that'd be
tour.
great. All right.
Yeah, man.
All the best.
All right.
Thanks again for your time. Cheers,
All
buddy.
right.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.